श्रीमते वेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। So welcome to the, I hope the audio is clear. Let me just check the connection. Yes. So welcome to the Bhaktyaloka series. We are on the last of the good qualities, that is Sadhu Vritti or Shato Vritti. And we have discussed this twofold meanings, propensity and lifestyle, Swabhava, for both Grahasthas and Grahatyagis. Praya Swabhava Vihito. Everyone has to do occupation according to one's nature. And then, you know, slowly by doing like that, hitva swabhavajam karma shaner nirgunatvam. You can attain the state of nirguna. That's what Bhaktivinoda Thakur says. And then you can achieve full knowledge and realization free from the three modes. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions that human beings are eligible for sattvic activities, and these 30 qualities he describes. And based on this, there is classification of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Sudras. And he goes into now what are the occupations of the four Varnas, Brahmachari, Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. And then one has to, make the gross and subtle body favorable so that it is favorable for devotional service, and then gradually situate above the three modes. And by that, you can elevate the soul in Krishna consciousness. That's a very important point. And for that, there is need of varnashram. And these varna and ashrams have come from the universal body of the Lord. If done was na bhajate. Oh, 1 second. Oh, not working. Huh? The power is not working. Let me pause for a moment and just connect. Okay. Yeah. So na bhajati avajananti snanat brashtat patantyada. So if he doesn't worship, then he falls down. And then Mahaprabhu explains, one should not conclude that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ordered to discard Varnashram. Varnashram is meant to regulate the gross and subtle bodies. But that's not the highest goal. From there, you have to come to pure devotional service, parodharma. And birth is not the criteria. Wherever you find those symptoms, accordingly, you'll have to classify Brahmana, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas. So based on the Swabhava, there is Swakarma and there is Swadharma. We saw that Swabhava of a Brahmana, is, there is based on his Swabhava, there is Swakarma and Swanirva. So Swakarma is Patan Patan, Yajan Yajan, Dana Pratigraha, and Swanirva is Dana and Pratigraha. So now, Bhaktana Thakur comes to this point that the prominence should be given to devotional service and cultivate the mode of goodness and then attain the Nirguna platform. From there, actually, pure devotional service actually begins. And there are the previous margins and the later margins after Mahaprabhu. So we should see their conduct because we have to follow in the footsteps of previous acharyas. So now he goes into what are the conduct of the householders of Mahaprabhu. And he lists, I think there is around 38 or 40, whatever. A grahastha should marry a suitable wife. Then he should have sons and daughters. They are Krishna's servants and maid servants. And then in that way, you have to nourish them and maintain them. They are part of Krishnera samsar. That's the point. Then education. We spoke a lot about education yesterday. What one should not have atheistic education. Serving guest is a principal duty. This is what yesterday we were focusing on, if you remember. It is the principal duty, and one should not honor prasad as long as one has not served prasad to the guest. This is the everyday norm a grahastha should do, and how far we are from this standard. At least, even there are other living entities at home, even the ants, you can feed them. And then, next, fifth, we saw he should act with simplicity in his dealings. So, this is where I think, yesterday ended the discussion. Yes, that's what we go with the sixth one now. One after the another, I'll read. If you have any questions, you can raise your hands. A householder should take the principles of renunciation to heart, but he should not simply dress as a renunciate. So this is very important. He should take it to heart, but don't. Actually, to be renounced, it's not just wearing externally the saffron. The heart has to become saffron. The heart has to be free from material desires. That is what really uh, means saffron. That is what is the real meaning of saffron. And then Chaitanya Charitamrit quotation is this: Stiraha na ghar yao, na hoye vyatul, krame krame paye loka, bhava sindhu kul, markat vairagya na kare loka dekhana, यथा योग विषय भुंजे अनासक्तहान अंतरे निष्ठा करे भाय लोक व्यवहार Achireta Krishna to Maha Karibe Uddhara. So this is Raghunath Das Goswami when he was running repeatedly from his home, although he was married to a princely lady. So Mahaprabhu instructs, be patient and return home. Don't be crazy fellow. By and by, you will be able to cross the ocean of material existence. You should not make yourself a show bottle devotee and become a false renunciate. Markat Vairagya. For the time being, enjoy the material world in a befitting way and do not become attached to it. Anasaktahan. Within your heart, you should keep yourself very faithful, but externally, you may behave like an ordinary man. Thus, Krishna will soon be very pleased and deliver you from the clutches of Maya. So, main is the sincerity of the heart. Otherwise, if you pretend, mityachara suchyate, karmendriyani sanyamya, ये आस्ते मनसा स्मरण इंद्रियार्थान विमूढ़ात्मा मिथ्याचार स उच्यते 3.6 in the Gita. Arjuna wants to renounce. No, don't do that because you'll become a pretender. That's what Krishna suggests. So similarly, at various stages in our life, however we are situated, at heart we should take to renunciation. Then, okay, this is one we had double numbered it. fifth, fifth. So here it has somehow come up correct now. Eighth it is. So seventh that was. This was seventh. So this is eighth. A householder is duty bound to work for the benefit of everyone. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the Lord has said, भारत भूमि हले मनुष्य जन्म यार जन्म सार्थक करी कर परोपकार नाचो गाओ भक्त संग करे संकीर्तन कृष्ण नाम उपदेशी तारा सर्व जन. One who has taken his birth as a human being in the land of Bharat, India, should make his life successful and work for the benefit of all other people. My dear child, continue dancing, chanting, and perform Sankirtan in the association of devotees. Furthermore, go out and preach the value of chanting Krishna. For by this process, you will be able to deliver all fallen souls. So, this is also very important that we should, as Grahastas also, uh, for the benefit of everyone based on our situation, time, place, and circumstances, you know, you know, there is a right mood and right attitude with which we should, do this preaching. Of course, we cannot go into the details of it now, but this is a very important principle Grihasthas are to do. Ninth, in this practice of devotional service, duplicitous association has to be prohibited. Even in street Sankirtan, one should chant and dance in the association of pure devotees. One should not chant in the association of non-devotees. So there's no reference for this. A householder should fully depend on the will of the Lord in all his activities. The Lord says in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, Shuno Mata Ishwarere Adina Samsar, Swatantra Hoite Shakti Nahi ke Kahar. Listen, dear mother, the whole world is under the control of the Lord. No one has the power to become independent. So we should depend on the will of the Lord, whatever situation He has put us in, and we should think that this is the will of the Lord. And when the Lord sanctions, He will, arrange situations in our life where we can, uh, be better situated, or we can, better serve the Lord. Ultimately, to preach also, we need Krishna's mercy. Krishna Shakti Vina Nahi Pravartan. So ultimately, everyone is under the adhin of Ishwar. Ekala Ishwar Ar Sabha Bhrat. There's only one controller, Ishwara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigra Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. So we should have full faith that we are controlled by the Ishwar. A householder should cautiously give up the association of non-devotees, women, and euchorious people. I think that is how we pronounce it. It's called as euchorious. Let me. I don't have the word web here because I'm using a different laptop. Yeah, that means men who are fond of women. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lord has said, Asat Sanga Tyag, E Vaishnavachar, Stri Sangi, Ek Asadu, Krishna Bhakta Ar. And who are the Asat Sanga? Stri Sangi? Hmm. Ek Asadu, a non-devotee who is not a sadhu, and Krishna Abhakta. He's a Abhakta, he's not a devotee. So, like that, we should give up this. 12. By following the prescribed duties in a Grahastha Vaishnava should accumulate wealth for his maintenance. He should not accumulate wealth by sinful means. This is very, very important now. And it's very, very difficult in Kali Yuga. And we have to be very sincere. If we are going to accumulate, you know, wealth by sinful means, we will get sinful reactions. And that sinful reactions will become an obstacle in our bhajan. Now, I'm going to give you two classic examples which I know personally who have confided to me. There's one Grahastha uh, in one city, he just staying next to the temple. He was working in a multinational company in Siemens in US. And under him, there was a team of 40 people. his whole huge team he had, because he was leading this team, he was getting a very high package. But ultimately, every month he had to sanction money for the party which the team is to have. In those days, there is liquor and meat. Now, mind you, everyone knew that he is practicing spiritual life and he won't attend these parties. He would neither participate in it. But he had to sanction that money. But he's so conscious that he felt, ultimately I am sanctioning, so I will get little reaction. So at last he quit his job and somehow settled here in India back. And he's just leading a retired life because somehow by Krishna's arrangement, he's got his maintenance for every month. He invested his money, whatever he had earned in a real estate where he built a building and that rent is coming. And both his children are studying in the Gurukul. On the other hand, I have a very close friend, businessman, who has a manufacturing company, and by a lot of illegal means, he made a lot of money. And now his family life is disturbed. He's divorced. He's going through financial crisis. And to settle the legal dispute, he had to shell in crores of money. Crores, huh? Not lakhs. And he's not able to, chant. Although he's come once or twice to attend the Japa seminar, but he's not able to chant because he's implicated in all these sinful reactions. So this is very important point, and that's why that implementation of Varnashram helps, because Varnashram helps to lead a pious life, a life free from sin, because that is paramount if you want to practice bhakti. Esham tu antagatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvanda moha nirmukta bhajante mam dridhavrata. So Nityanand Prabhu is telling in Chaitanya Bhagavat these, robbers who had come to rob him. He transformed them. Shuno dvija ekate pataka kaila tuvi आरयदि ना करिष सब निमो मुनि परमहिंसा दाक चूरी सब अनाचार छाड़ा गया यह तुम्ही ना करिह आर धर्म पते गया तुम्ही लह हरि नाम तबे तुम्ही अन्यर करिबे परित्राण यत सब दास्यो चोर डाकिया आनिया dharmapate sabara lohaya tumi giya. Mahaprabhu is instructing these robbers. Shuno, now listen carefully, O Brahmana. I will take responsibility of all your previous misdeeds if you do not repeat them. No more aggression, violence, looting, or murder. Give them up forever. Lead a religious life and chant the holy names of the Supreme Lord. Later, you can also save others. Go and meet other dacoits and murderers and bring them to the path of pure religious life. Okay. Any questions you have? Any questions? Any clarifications? It's very straightforward and simple. Okay. A householder should not hanker for another's wife or prostitutes. See, Bhaktivinoda Thakur knows the reality of situation, because this is very, very deep rooted anartha in the heart. And before I discuss this, I would like to go to the Veda base and why Bhaktivinoda Thakur is stating this. I would like to open the Veda base and show you. Uh, Prabhupada in the commentary to Indriyasya Indriyarte Raghava Dosh Vyavastito Tayorna Vashuma Gachet Tohi Yasya Paripantino. Hmm. Oh, not fourth chapter, it is third chapter. So here this is a very important verse, 3.34. He says there are principles to regulate attachment, raga and aversion, dvesh, pertaining to the senses and their objects. One should not come under the control of such attachments and aversions because they are stumbling blocks on the path of self-realization. And Prabhupada mentions that one should regulate in to engage in material sense gratification. They have to follow the rules and regulations. Unrestricted sense enjoyment is a cause of material engagement. It will engage you. But one who follows the rules and regulations of the revealed scriptures does not become entangled in the sense objects. And Prabhupada gives the extreme example. For example, sex enjoyment is a necessity for the conditioned soul, and sex enjoyment is allowed under the license of marriage ties. That too for progeny. According to scriptural injunction, one is forbidden to engage in sex relationship with any woman other than one's wife. All other women are to be considered as one's mother. But in spite of such injunctions, Prabhupada see here, a man is still inclined to have sex relationship with other women. These propensities are to be curbed. Otherwise, they are stumbling blocks on the path of self-realization. So, this tendency to enjoy, especially, Prabhupada is speaking about here sex. This tendency is deep rooted because it is there in Krishna. Krishna is the lover and beloved of the gopis, and he enjoys unlimited gopis. So the jiva who wants to imitate, he doesn't want to be satisfied in one relationship. And there is this tendency, very, very deep rooted anartha, you know. So uh, Krishna in his Parakiya Ras enjoys with the other women's wives in Vrindavan. But in one sense, everything is a manifestation of Krishna. And these gopis are also manifestation of Srimati Radharani. So that is Krishna, he is the enjoyer, and we try to imitate. So that is why we follow the rules and regulations. It's very, very important, and that's why Bhaktivinoda Thakur is mentioning this point here. Otherwise, why would he mention? This is exhibited in Lord dealings with Krishnadas in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Gosai Nira Sangera He Krishnadas Brahmana Bhattahari Saha Tahan Haila Darshana Stri Dharna Dekana Tanra Loba Janmila Arya Sarala Viprara Buddhi Nashakela. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was accompanied by his servant Krishnadas. This is in the South India Yatra. He was a Brahmana. Please remember he was Brahmana. But he met the Bhattaharis there. There are South Indian Keralites who are called as the Bhattaharis. And they are, they do black magic. And allure people through women. With women, the Bhattaharis allured the Brahmana Krishnadas, who was simple and gentle. By virtue of their bad association, they polluted his intelligence. The Lord protected that Brahmana from the women's clutches by pulling him by the hair. The word Saral Vipra means weak-hearted young Brahmana. It doesn't mean simplicity, but it is, Hridaya Dhaurabalya, the weakness of the heart. 14. He is a real householder who chants 100,000 names every day. So we know that standard of what was the standard during Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's time? Anyone knows? Raise your hand. Shubha Ikshana Krishna Prabhuji. Yes.
Prabhu, 1
Can
lakh
you
name.
speak a little loudly, please?
1 lakh name
1 lakh. And this standard was for whom?
for all who have taken initiation.
Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur had this standard for especially the Grahasthas because they are in touch with the material energy. The brahmacharis and the sannyasis are staying in the ashram. They are engaged in deity worship, engaged in preaching, book distribution, and all. But he had this standard for the grahasthas because they are, in touch with the material energy. But everyone followed this standard. So that was the standard. And Prabhupada implemented the same standard in the Western world. But Westerners said we can't do it. But Prabhupada said 16 is the minimum. At least 16 one should chant. Prabhupada expected that we chant more as time passes by. And this was a standard for Western, not for India. And India is becoming westernized now. So slowly, if we chant 16 attentive rounds, then slowly, taste will come and then we start chanting more. Pure devotees should accept prasad in the house of such grihasthas. Pure devotees, huh? In such grihasthas. Anyone who's sincerely chanting and preaching, yes. And we have to know the standard. Prabhu bhala jana laksheshwara boli kare प्रतिदिन लक्ष्य नाम एक ग्रहण करे से जनेर नाम अमी बोले लक्षेश्वर ताहा भिक्षा आमार ना होय अन्य घर. The Lord replied, do you know who is a Laksheshwar? He is someone who chants 1 laksha or 100,000 holy names every day. I call such a person as Laksheshwar. I only take meals in that person's house, no one else. Mahaprabhu is saying this. Okay, next. There is no difference between the Smartas and Vaishnavas regarding following the codes of religion. The Lord has said in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, Adama janara achar ena dharma adhikari Vaishnavoy करे एक सही कर्म कृष्ण कृपाए से इहा जानी बारे पारे ऐ सब संकट कह मारे कह तारे. Sometimes an exalted Vaishnava exhibits the same activities as a materialistic person. One can understand this by the mercy of Krishna. Otherwise, in this dilemma, one may be liberated or destroyed. This needs some explanation. Okay, yeah. The purport is that the conviction in the heart of a Vaishnava is independent. If a Vaishnava, if one is a Vaishnava, then he can understand the conviction of heart of another Vaishnava who is engaged in the same activities as those of the Smartas. One who cannot understand this cannot respect Vaishnavas and he thereby goes to well. So, it is very difficult to understand the Vaishnava's convictions. And another Vaishnava might be doing smart activities so that he doesn't disturb, those who are there in the Varnashram. And, the neophyte Vaishnavas, he might think, Array, being a Vaishnava, why is he following this? But only one Vaishnava who is actually a Vaishnava can understand the conduct of another Vaishnava. And in that way, understanding his heart and conviction, he understands the real inner meaning of why this Vaishnava is, conducting himself like this. And that's why he doesn't degrade himself. So, Gaur Govind Maharaj, once he was telling that there was one uh, Paramhamsa Vaishnava. Of course, he was not a sannyasi, but he was like a Vanaprastha, you can say, wearing white. And in Orissa and Bengal, there is a Jalera Fal. Jalera Fal is fish. They don't consider it as meat, non-veg. So this Vaishnava, every day or sometime he used to go to the fish market, buy fish and dry it right in front of his house, and it is to stink, and he used to be inside there. And the other Vaishnavas say, hey, this Vaishnava, see, he's eating fish, man. He's not a proper Vaishnava. But he used to buy this fish and keep it in front of his house, and inside in his bhajan kutir, he used to chant continuously so that nobody will come and disturb him. So you cannot understand the activities of a Vaishnava. And by the way, I would like to mention here the rules of the Smartas are given in the Smriti Shastras. Similarly, the rules of the Vaishnavas are given in the Vaishnava Smriti Shastras, which one has to know. At least, it's very difficult to understand Hari Bhakti Vilas, but one should follow Nectar of Devotion and the Vaishnava etiquette manual, which is there. That's very important. Okay, 16. The Lord has explained the duties of the householders in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Prabhu kahe na Krishna seva Vaishnava sevan nirantara kare Krishna nama sankirtan. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, without cessation, continue chanting the holy name of the Lord Krishna whenever possible. Serve him and his devotees, the Vaishnavas. This is the Pulina Gram Vasis. Every day they used to, year, sorry, not every day, every year, they used to come 4 months during the Chaturmas and from Bengal and spend time with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And although they were Grahasthas, so every year Satyaraj Khan asked this question: we are Grahasthas, what is our duty? Prabhupada, Mahaprabhu said, chant the holy names and serve the Vaishnavas. So they asked, who is a Vaishnava? So Mahaprabhu said, anyone who takes once the name of Krishna, he is a Vaishnava. In the second year, they came again. Again, they asked the same question. We are Grahasthas, what is our duty? And Mahaprabhu said, chant the holy name and serve the Vaishnavas. But this time, Mahaprabhu said, Nirantar kare Krishna Nam Sankirtan, continuously chant. And then, whenever possible, serve him and his devotees. Krishna Seva, Vaishnava Seva. So the point here is that this is applicable for a Madhyamadikari. It is the duty of the Grahas to constantly chant the holy names of the Lord and serve the Vaishnavas and the Lord with the help of his relatives and by the wealth he has earned through his pious life. Wealth he has earned through his pious life. Please remember that. Wealth he has earned through his pious life. Regarding serving, regarding serving the Vaishnavas, one should know that there are three types of non-duplicitous devotees. Serving such Vaishnavas is called Vaishnava Seva. That is the Kanishta, Madhyama, and the Uttama. There is no need to gather many Vaishnavas by invitation. Whenever Vaishnava comes for any purpose, he should be properly served with care. By gathering many Vaishnavas, one may commit offense because you will not be able to take care of all of them. चैतन्य चरितामृत बहुत सन्यासी यदि आसे एक थाने सम्मान करिते नारे अपराध पाए. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was inviting after he was transformed from a Mayavadi sannyasi to a Vaishnava. He was he was working, serving for Maharaj Patraprudra, and he used to invite Mahaprabhu and 20 sannyasis of all associates. That time Mahaprabhu gave this instruction to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. It is a duty of the Gras Vaishnava to show mercy on the poor and fallen. As stated in Chaitanya, Deen Daya Kare, a Sadhu Sabhav hai. It is a characteristic of all settling persons to be kind towards the poor and the fallen. So that's why, especially Grahasthas, when they go to holy places, in general, they're all sadhus, although they are in that poor, they are not having wealth and they're sometimes beggars. One should give donations, give prasad, give fruits. One should do that in the dham and in a regular way also. A Grahastha Vaishnava should not desire to give up his body merely out of sentiment or anger. This is Sanatan Goswami who wanted to give up his body. Deha tyagadi yata sab tvamo dharma tamo raja dharme krishnera na paibe marma. Acts such as suicide are influenced by the mode of ignorance, tamo dharma. And in ignorance and passion, one cannot understand who Krishna is. Nahi paye marma. Krishnera nahi paye marma. There is no consideration of superior or inferior status due to social position in regard of worshipping Krishna. In worldly occupations, there are different activities according to the different social divisions, which are due to superior and inferior grades of intelligence. There are no such distinctions in the process of devotional service. Again, references from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Neech jati na he Krishna bhajane ayogya, satkula vipra na he brajene rayogya. Ei bhaje se bada abhakta hi nachar, Krishna bhajan nahi ye jati kuladi vichar. A person born in the low family is not unfit for devotional service to Lord Krishna, nor is one fit for devotional service simply because he is born in an aristocratic family of Brahmanas. Anyone who takes to devotional service is exalted, whereas a non-devotee is always condemned and abominable. Therefore, in the discharge of devotional service to the Lord, there is no consideration of status of one's family. So this jati consciousness, caste consciousness, and this is a cause also of offenses. The Nityanand Vamsha, the Advait Vamsha, they thought, that we are descendants of Nityanand Prabhu, we are descendants of Advaita Acharya, so we are superior Vaishnavas. Only we can initiate. So they thought that they have monopoly to spread Vaishnavism. But a Vaishnava is one who has controlled his Vegas and is practicing pure devotion. So there is a reference again given. Sannyasi Pandita Ganera Karite Garvanash Nicha Shudra Dwara Karena Dharmera Prakash. To vanquish the false pride of so-called renunciates and learned scholars, he spread real religious principles even through a Shudra, a low-born fourth-class man. So these Varanasi sannyasis, they were all Vedantist. And Mahaprabhu took instructions from Ramanand Rai. And Ramanand Rai is coming from he's a Grahastha first of all. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a sannyasi. And from the Varna point of view, he is from a Shudra background. And Mahaprabhu is a Brahmana background. But yet he took instructions from Ramanand Rai to destroy the pride of these so-called renunciate and learned scholars. A Grahastha Vaishnava should feel satisfied with whatever food and clothing he gets without difficulty. Chaitanya Bhagavat. Sabha hoite bhagyavanta Shri Shaka Venjana Puna Puna Yaha Prabhu Karena Grahana. The spinach and vegetables are the most fortunate of all, for the Lord accepts them again and again, because Lord likes shak. A Grahastha Vaishnava should perform devotion. That means you should get whatever simple you can get shak and vegetables and serve. That's why sometimes when devotees go to villages, na, they make very simple food and offer. It's so satisfying it is. Whereas sometimes if you go to very opulent houses, although they're devotees, they make opulent preparations. That doesn't satisfy so much. So simplicity is very important. Whatever you get simple food without any much difficulty. 22. A Grahas Vaishnava should perform devotional service with undeviated attention, knowing Krishna as the Lord of all. Undeviated attention. He should not disrespect the demigods worshipped by the Smart Sampradaya. Yes, this is also very important. As stated in Chaitanya Bhagavat, Na mane Chaitanya Pata Bolaya Vaishnav Shivera Amanya Kare Vyartata Ra Sab. If one claims to be Vaishnava but disrespects Lord Shiva and does not strictly follow the path exhibited by Lord Chaitanya, all his efforts are futile. That's why we have to see all demigods as a servant of the Lord. They are also engaged in the Lord's service because the Lord has appointed them as administrators in that post. So they are all engaged in the service of the Lord, and we should consider them as devotees and respect them, but we should not worship them separately. It is a duty of the Grahastha to work for the benefit of others, even by giving up his own self-interest. Chaitanya Bhagavat. Apanar bhala hoy ete jana dekhe sujana apana chadiyo para rake. Some people expect only benefits for themselves, but gentleman cares for others while giving up his own interest. So this is how one should act. And that's why in terms of taking prasad, the grihasthas, you know, it is offered to the deities, but one should, you know, not eat for himself. That will be self-interest. That's why he should first feed others. And then, like that. Gras Vaishnava should respect and worship Tulsi. Chaitanya Bhagavat. Sankhya namalita e sthana prabhu vashe. Tahara kena tulsira prabhu pashe. Tulsira dekana japena sankhya nam. E bhakti yogera tattva ki bhujibe an. Wherever the Lord sits to chant his rounds, he keeps Tulsi before him. He gazes at Tulsi while he chants his rounds. Who can understand the science of devotional service? So this is so important. Mahaprabhu did this as a grahastha. The Lord did this. A householder with devotion is glorious, while a householder without devotion is insignificant. Whatever social dealings a householder has to perform, should be done while taking shelter of the holy name of Krishna. So in his social dealings, you know, it should be done while taking shelter of the holy name. Now, there's the extreme example of Kalidas. We cannot do that, but we have in our social functions at home, we have to center it all on the holy name. महाभागवतेनो सरल उदार कृष्ण नाम संकेते चलाय व्यवहार कौतुक को केते तेन हो यदि पाक पाशक खेलिया हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण करी पाशक chalaya. Kalidas was a very advanced devotee, yet he was simple and liberal. He would chant the holy name of Krishna while performing all his ordinary dealings. When he used to throw dice in jest, he would chant Hare Krishna while throwing the dice. So while playing the dice game, he used to chant Hare Krishna. So we have birthdays at home. We should make it the social, turn it into a social spiritual activity. That's it. Everyone is prohibited from corrupt earning or spending, and workers are prohibited from accepting bribes. So how difficult it is to follow this. Chaitanya Charitamrit. राजार वर्तन काय आर चूरी करे राजा दंड होय से शास्त्रेर विचार व्याह ना करिह किचु राजार मूलधन राजार मूलधन दिया ए किचु लभय होय सेई धन करिय नाना धर्मे कर्मे व्यह असद्व्याह ना करिय याते दुही लोकयाय. One who serves the government but misappropriates the government's revenue is liable to be punished by the king. Now, this is in respect to, uh, I'm not able to recollect that personality's name. He was in Puri and he was, on behalf of the king, he used to do the trading of the horses because the kings need horses. And, while, bargaining with them, he used to internally make little gold coins for himself. And when the king came to know, he ordered punishment for this. And he was a devotee. I don't recollect his name. Anyone knows can just type in the message. And then the king decided him to hang him. you know. And the brothers came to Mahaprabhu to please save him. Mahaprabhu said, "No, I cannot get involved. It's his mistake. You know, First, you should pay the revenue due to the king, and then you should spend the balance for religious and fruitive activities. Don't spend a farthing from sinful activities for which you will be a loser both in this life and the next." So the sinful activity is all money. If you use it in devotional service, it doesn't mean that you'll get purified. No, you'll have to suffer the reaction for it. So that is why we have to be very careful. A grahastha should accept a spiritual master who is full of devotion and of pure character. Chaitanya Bhagavat. Guru yata bhakti shunya tata shishyagan. As a guru is without devotion, so are the disciples. One statement makes it. Full of devotion. That's why you should be full of devotion. A householder should be particularly careful not to commit offenses against Vaishnavas. A Vaishnava sane aparadha hoy ar पुनः स शमिला से गुचे nahi ar. Chaitanya Bhagavat Madhya. When someone offends a Vaishnava, he is not relieved until he is forgiven by that same Vaishnava. Serving the devotees is the householder's main duty. Again, it has come a principal duty. Vaishnavara Shesha Bhakshanera Ekata Mahima Kalidas Pahilo Prabhura Kripasima Bhaktapad Dhuli Ara Bhaktapad Jal Bhakta Bhukta Avashesha Tini Mahabhal. Kalidas, who was playing dice, the same Kalidas had so much faith in the Vaishnavas, it's unimaginable. It's unimaginable that he used to go to the Vaishnavas' house, Grahastas, and get fruits, and he used to tell them, offer it to the deities, and please have these fruits. And the Grahasthas knew who is Kali, this very exalted Mahabhagavat. But but when they, like the mango, when the peel is thrown out in the backyard, Kalidas used to hidingly go and take the remnants of this, you know, mango peel or the seed. So much he had faith in the Vaishnavas. And because he had this faith in the Vaishnavas, Mahaprabhu was very pleased. So when he came to Jagannath Puri, Mahaprabhu, used to go with his associates to take darshan of Jagannath. And at the entrance, there is a place where you wash your feet. Now also it is there. And then you enter the Simhadwar. So Kalidas came right in front of the Lord, the Charnamrit, which was washed his feet. He just drank it not once, not twice, three times. And Mahaprabhu did not mind because of his faith in Vaishnavas. He was blessed by Mahaprabhu. So similarly, if the Vaishnavas serve the other Vaishnavas, Grahasthas, without any duplicity, they will get the mercy of the Lord. That's the point. Taking the remnants of the Vaishnava food is so valuable that it induced Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to offer Kalidas his supreme mercy. The dust of his feet of the devotee, the water that has washed the feet of the and the remnants of the feet left by the devotee are three powerful substances. So Mahaprabhu gave his own Bhaktapada Avashesh, Bhaktapada Dulya or Bhaktapada Jal. He gave the Bhaktapada Jal, sorry. Okay. Any questions you have up till now? We're just going through this reading and we have come up to now 30th. There is still, I think, around 40. So I think we can finish and then next time we can go through what is for the sannyasis. We can see that next time. So any questions you have up till now? Priya Mataji has a question. Yes, Mataji?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji,
Yes.
you have beautifully explained about the remnants and the three Mahabal, like Naradji also. I want to know, like this is the fast method of moving ahead in bhakti, but that faith has to be there, right?
Yes, that faith has to be there. That faith, you know, if that faith is not very strong, then we don't have, faith in the remnants of the Vaishnavas. So that faith has to be there. So if the faith is not so strong, then very exalted devotee sannyasis we should take. But if you don't have that faith and then you take, it doesn't have much impact. But Kalidas was himself very pure and he had faith, and that's why he used to have, and it is to not affect him. So that is also another, criteria. Like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says, in his bhajan, you know, Swapache grahite magibo khaibo pibo saraswati jale. I will wander like a mendicant, like a avduta in the Navdeep. Kabe gauravane suradhuni tate hara deha Krishna boli. So there he's saying, Sapacha grihite magibo khaibo. I'll go to a house of a Sapacha and whatever I'll get in my Madhukari, I will eat that. Now imagine Sapacha, he's a dog eater. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur is a Mahabhagavat. Just by seeing this Mahabhagavat, this person gets purified. And because he's offering this, that offering also is pure. And that's why Bhaktivinoda Thakur, being a Mahabhagavat, his chitta is pure. He has it, it doesn't have effect. But a new Bhakta, cannot accept this. His faith will not allow him to accept, a remnants or begging from a, you know, from a Sapacha. So, like that, all these dealings have to be done according to one's faith, one's level of consciousness. That's the point. Yes, Priyamataji.
Yeah, thanks. You have nicely explained. Just a subtle thing I want to ask. Suppose a small child has it, the remnants. Will it work the same way? Like
Small child has a remnants of what?
of like pure Mahabhagavats. Will it work the same way? Like he'll be elevated? Like,
Yes, definitely. Of a Mahabhagavat, if a small child has, for him, it is swifter, the elevation, because
mm,
he doesn't have those cultural conditionings and the conditionings which a person who is grown up has, you know. So for him, it is a most swifter process.
yes, actually that's true because when we start growing, we have so many other things, like and the
Mm.
faith
The
is good.
environmental conditionings, the cultural conditionings, the conditionings in our practices also we get, instead of becoming liberated, we get conditioned also because of fanatisms, so many things, so many doubts, you know. So his heart is like a sponge, it'll absorb. And that's why if some bad conditionings are given to children, like this, terrorist, they actually, how these people become terrorists, right? When they are child, they are brainwashed. And that's why they grow with that envy. And that's why they become like that, So like that. Similarly for children, if, sadhu's darshan, sadhu's kripa, they get, the pure impressions will go in their heart and they'll become also very quickly pure. Okay, so let's go to complete this other another 10 qualities. It'll just take few minutes, 5 minutes it'll take. Shubha Ikshan Kush Prabhu, questions. So I will take the questions. I don't want to. Yes,
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
you
Prabhu,
have
this
to
is
speak a little loudly.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
No, it's not clear.
Hare Krishna.
No, I think there is some distraction from your end.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, now it is clear.
Yeah. Prabhu, this is regarding the profession as it is mentioned in today's series of verses that we are reading, that we have to be, uh, we have to be like, everything should be appropriately done without any bribery or under the table and all this.
Mm.
But Prabhu is like in the current profession in which I am in, but sometimes we have to do that, although we do not want it to be. So does those also comes to us as a cycle of karma, or how is it, Prabhu?
Yeah, you know, it depends on one's level of consciousness. And based on that, the intention, the purpose, sometimes, when is in that situation that without, his project is there or a home building house is there, and without giving the bribery, things don't happen in this world, that, right? So the effects are there definitely. And that's why one has to be conscious about it. And then he has to take to some measures and not, uh, like I'm just giving an example. This is what I've observed. I'm telling you this practically. I know many businessmen who are into, land developments, and, you know, they are quite well off, rich. And while coming up with these projects, they're going to make huge money. And, they have to deal with the different government departments, to process their file. And they have to give huge bribes. Without that, it doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. And they have to do it. And they are forced to do it because without that, their project will not go ahead. But when I suggest them that whatever amount of bribe you are given, why don't you that same amount, and that amount is also quite huge, in the project, build a temple, which is practical, but they are not ready. So for doing spiritual activities, spending the money, they don't want to do that. But to get their things done, they are ready to spend money for sinful activities. They know it is sinful, giving bribe. So my point is here, I know the practical scenario in this world. This is the principle which Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying. And how to come to that standard is what, we should work on. If you don't come to that standard and you don't work on it, then you might be chanting Hare Krishna, but you're implicated in sinful reactions. So how will you chant? That's the point which I was making. It's good that you brought this up. So as much money, I know, I'm just giving an example. I know a builder who's developed a huge layout, a very huge layout, and it's in the tune of crores, but he has to give live bribe also a few crores. But I requested him that you build a temple. There is that boundary. They have to leave a certain area for public amenities like park, garden. I said, build a temple there worth 30, 40 lakhs, but not ready. But it is appreciable, recently in ISKCON Thane, the Pyramids, they developed a 30-acre, apartments. And in that 2.53 acres, almost like, 3 acres, you can say, they built a beautiful temple for the entire community in that 30 acres, completely gifted, you know. So this is, if you do this, then, you will be blessed by Krishna. So that's the point. Yes, Prabhuji.
So Prabhuji, just like as I told,
Again,
like for my
your
CA
audio has
profession,
come
I keep
down.
it very simple and
Audio,
straight.
audio.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, now it's better.
Yeah, Prabhu, like for my CA profession specifically, when we deal with say like customs, like yesterday only one consignment came and I have to pay bribery. Again, I am not paying by my hand, but someone in Calcutta from Bangalore, I have to transfer it to pay it because a Ferrero Rocher chocolate came along with items. So something like that, or registering a trust whereby we have to pay because work doesn't get it done. So as a chartered accountant, then how shall we deal it?
I told you the answer, no? In general, any principle, it's going to be the same. So as much amount you have given, that much you will have to give donation now.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
That's
Then
a
I'll
simple
follow that.
thing, And in spite of that, please remember that, of course, you should not have this mentality of a karma kandi.
Yes,
That I know I'm doing this prashchit. No. That mentality also, if you're doing, then that's also namaprad. That I'll
exactly.
chant, I'll commit sin, and I'll chant in order to become purified. Even with that
No.
mentality, you should not do. That there should be genuine sincerity heart that, what to do, I'm given in this situation, I'm not able to. And oh Lord, do something about it so that I can not come under such situations again. And I'm giving this, not with that kind of a mentality. The Lord will understand the sincerity of the heart of the devotee, and one day he will completely, make sure that you will become free from this.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, that should be our attitude.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
So we'll stop here. Time is up. Another 10 are there, which we will discuss, and then we will go to tomorrow. We'll go to the duties of a renunciate. What is the sadhu vritti of a renunciate? So that will require another class. I may be another 2 classes, because after that, what are the common duties of both grahasthas and renunciates? So one by one, we will go through it. It's quite a long, lengthy discussion. So there are another 75 slides. So that will take 2 classes, I feel. Yeah, 2 classes it will take. So 2 classes. Okay. So thank you very, very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. Shri Bhaktyaloka ki jai. Hare Krishna.